Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
This has been over a year-long process of negotiating for this contract, so knowing that we're going to have a chance to come back to the table one last time to hopefully get this contract done is very exciting.
We begin with breaking news regarding the uncertain times for the Fargo School District and its teachers. District leaders decided about an hour ago to again meet with the union negotiators for Fargo teachers to try and work out a contract agreement.
Now, up until this recent decision, the district was going to issue unilateral contracts after the two sides failed to reach common ground on a 2-year contract.
Well, really the last thing is salary for us to figure out. A couple other smaller things, but that's the crux of it. And just a matter of us trying to find agreement on the two sides' positions.
Last week, the district made one last offer that called for a 1.5% increase in salary the first year and a 1.1% increase the second. The two sides will try to agree on a contract by February 4th.
Fargo City leaders are considering a change to a law that right now restricts selling firearms and ammunition out of your home.
Valley News Team's Katie Opperly takes a look at the current home business restrictions and what this possible change could mean.
Fargo City leaders have questions about the current home occupation law and the one section that prevents you from selling firearms.
If there's good reason, then let's learn what that good reason is. And then let's take a critical eye and look at if it's still a good reason. And if there is no good reason, then we shouldn't have laws in the book so we don't have reasons for.
The law was passed in 2001, but Commissioner Garrick wants to find out why, saying he can't find any justification the law was put into place. Gun enthusiasts like Dwayne Spooner welcome the potential change with open arms.
I think from the city standpoint, it's a positive thing to look at. I don't see any reason why would you want to do something that stops commerce in your city?
Spooner has had his federal firearms license for more than 40 years. He doesn't think this change would negatively impact gun shops or the people of Fargo. There is a great deal of licensing and regulation in place, so not everyone would embark on this business endeavor.
When people actually find out all the rules and regulations involved, it isn't just as much as the city says that you can do it. Then you also have to apply to ATF for a license, and they have certain requirements.
The home occupation law doesn't just prevent the sale of firearms out of your home. You also can't repair vehicles and large equipment, operate a dispatch center, or offer animal care, grooming, and boarding.
Even like the dog groomers, I think maybe people could make a good argument about the noise and things like that. Whereas these other things, I don't like selling firearms out of your home or transferring them out of your home. I don't think they have the same legitimacy.
Fargo commissioners have sent the law to the city planning staff and law enforcement so they can research and review this portion of the law and will return with a recommendation. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
We have a full list of the home businesses restricted in Fargo on our Valley News Live app. Just go there and click on this story.
The woman who disappeared from the Standing Rock Reservation more than 2 months ago was arrested last week in Texas on a felony warrant from North Dakota. 30-year-old Kara Maui was found in the Dallas area on January 15th. Maui was arrested there on a felony warrant from Morton County and taken back to North Dakota. Dallas police were able to find her after she made contact with family members by phone.
The Southern Minnesota police officer gravely wounded in a shooting has undergone reconstructive surgery for broken bones in his face and skull. A family post on Eric Matson's Caring Bridge website says the surgery left him dealing with some pain and swelling, but otherwise went well. The 32-year-old Wasika officer was shot in the head January 6th while responding with other officers on a call about a suspicious person roaming through some backyards. The post says Matson was positioned upright during physical therapy and twice threw a ball to his brother.
A Moorhead man says Child Protective Services failed his family in the death of his 2-year-old son. Hawley police are investigating how 2-year-old Jermaine Johnson Jr. died last week. CPS says the child was suffering from brain bleeding when he was taken to a Fargo hospital and then died an hour and a half into surgery. His father says he's heartbroken by the loss.
He wasn't like that when I brought him to the yard, and for me to get my son back and he's dead.
Court documents show Clay County Social Services took away 5 kids belonging to the Johnson family last fall because of allegations of neglect and abuse. Johnson disputes those claims and says CPS failed to protect his child. CPS didn't respond to our request for comment.
President Donald Trump's defense team finished its opening arguments, but his impeachment trial might not be headed for the swift acquittal the White House hoped for.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell conceded tonight he doesn't yet have the votes to block more witnesses. Skylar Henry reports from Capitol Hill.
Lawyers for President Trump wrapped up their opening arguments at his impeachment trial in less than half the time allotted them.
Danger, danger, danger. These articles must be rejected.
The president's defense tried to discredit claims in a manuscript for John Bolton's upcoming book, in which the former national security advisor says the president did condition aid to Ukraine on investigations into the Bidens.
It is not a game of leaks and unsourced manuscripts.
The Senate is now bracing for a debate on witnesses. Late Tuesday, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said he doesn't have the votes to block them.
We just came from a conference in which there was vigorous discussion and debate on the question of whether additional witnesses are needed.
Democrats have shot down any other offer besides sworn testimony.
We're not bargaining with them. We want 4 witnesses and 4 sets of documents. Then the truth will come out.
Senators begin the 2-day question and answer period Wednesday before taking any vote on additional witnesses. Senators will use these cards to write their questions for House managers or the defense, sign their names, and submit them to Chief Justice John Roberts.
We have these massive crowds.
President Trump took aim at the trial and Democrats from a campaign rally in New Jersey.
They can't win an election, so they're trying to steal an election. It's not happening, folks. It's not happening.
The president predicted he'd win an even bigger victory come November. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Lev Parnas, the indicted business associate of the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has asked a federal judge for permission to travel to the Senate gallery to watch the impeachment trial later this week.
It's hard to ignore the headlines and images coming out of China with the death toll from the coronavirus rising and U.S. officials preparing to evacuate Americans from the epicenter of the outbreak. But before you worry too much about coronavirus, consider this. The CDC estimates that at least 8,200 people have died in the U.S. this year, not from the coronavirus, but from the flu, 31 of those deaths being in Minnesota.
I just don't think people appreciate the numbers of influenza deaths and the number of influenza cases that we have in the hospital. But we should be taking it as seriously because that's what's here now in our community. That is much more likely to end you up in a hospital or to kill you right now than the Wuhan coronavirus.
It's not that you shouldn't take coronavirus seriously. It is serious, but the CDC says the risk to general population in the U.S. is still low. So you're really worried about keeping your family safe, focus on the threat that's closer to home.
In the age of information, sometimes our data can end up in the wrong hands. The North Dakota Commerce Committee is taking steps to keep our private things private as we use the internet. The committee is working on a study of protections, enforcement, and remedies regarding the disclosure of consumers' personal data.
We are taking it very serious, and we intend to keep on top of it and implement those laws and policy, as they come available, so we can, keep on the forefront of this.
California recently passed a Consumer Privacy Act, and the North Dakota legislature has taken note. However, no privacy laws can be passed here until the next session in 2021.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait Weather.
All right. Well, our weather the last several days has certainly been a little on the cool side. As we take a look at the radar currently, we do see some showers of snow moving through the Red River Valley. Pretty few and far between, drying up quite a bit as we take a look down to the south. Maybe a little bit more larger flake activity there in the Sisseton Hills. Some clearing out to the west. There's warmer air out there, as a matter of fact, and things have really been changing. But for us, we're stuck in the low teens. It's 11 degrees. 3 is what it feels like with those 5-mile-per-hour winds. Here's a look around the region. Out to the west is where things are warmer. 19 in Jamestown, 14 Devil's Lake, and in western Minnesota, still single digits. Out for Fergus Falls, 7 in Wadena and 14 in Roseau. Here is a look at visibility. That's been most limited out to the west, and in fact, in Carrington, 3/4 of a mile right now, as temperatures are falling a little bit. Now, not a lot of snow out near Carrington showing up on the radar, but we do have some low clouds starting to hug their way into the area. So right now, snow showers pushing into the Red River Valley, to the FM area, and really mainly just a dusting is expected. As we look to the north, we're still seeing some in central Grand Forks County, from Northwood all the way up through Grafton and in towards Cavalier. Hour-by-hour forecast as we go through the overnight and into the morning shows we still have snow shower chances even into the overnight. And because there was warmer air out to the west today that reached the 40-degree mark in the western Dakotas, just above the ground overhead here, we have warmer air that's above freezing in some spots, and that could create some freezing mist or drizzle. Please watch for slippery roads first thing in the morning, particularly from the Red River to the west. Now, as we go through our Wednesday, we will have south winds. We'll have more clouds than sun, and we'll have hit and miss flurries of snow, mainly in northwest Minnesota. I think the model is overdoing some of the clouds and low fog that we have out to the west. There may even be a chance for some good old-fashioned sunshine out there, as we'll see temperatures with the best chance at 30 in southeast North Dakota and a lot of 20s elsewhere, with a few flakes of snow hit and miss style across mainly the Red River and points east as we go through the afternoon on our midweek day. So here's your morning in Fargo, shaping up to start out near 10 degrees, and we will warm up fairly nicely as we go through the early half of the day. A lot of clouds and near 18. Then as we go through the afternoon, temperatures kind of lock in right at 20 degrees. We'll hover there. Winds remain light as we go into the evening hours. We'll stay right there with those clouds kind of blanketing the warmth. I can't rule out a renegade flurry or two that causes maybe enough snow to have us brush off our windshield of our car on our commute home. 21 for you in Langdon tomorrow afternoon. The warmest weather where you see the blue shades here. We'll have temperatures near the 30-degree mark. 22 degrees for you in Detroit Lakes. Up in Roseau, how about 21? Thief River at that same reading tomorrow afternoon. Beautiful shot here. This one shared by Tiffany Qualley. This is sunset near Grand Forks. Just beautiful colors in that. And speaking of beautiful, take a look at this. Now we have some good weather to talk about. 26 degrees as we start warming up, with a chance of a flake or two on Thursday, and on Friday we get near 30. Now Saturday, how about 32 degrees, warming up to near 40 for some on Sunday. In fact, Hutch has 39.4 there for your whatever day that is, Groundhog Day. It's coming right up. Then look out, better enjoy it, because the temperatures look real cold. So through Sunday, we got those blues and even greens here in the northern plains as we really warm things up for Sunday. After that, that Arctic blob starts driving its way down and southward towards us as we get deeper into the first week of the new month.
Do you sense a little tension sometimes when we have to talk about Phil?
Well, it's once a year, and he gets over it after that.
Yeah, that's right. It is one day. So
yeah.
Thanks, Hutch.
You bet. Coming up next on Valley News Live 10 at 10, while family and former NBA stars grieve publicly, investigators come forward with new details about the crash that killed Kobe Bryant.